What's up, Go Tires? It's JC, and this is your video on how to help you achieve your goals. So, grab a seat and a notebook, and let's get started. What's up, Go Tires? So, we are going to be talking about how to achieve goals. A lot of times we set them, but we don't know how to actually achieve them, work towards them, or anything like that. It's kind of a lost, dead-end road whenever we get into it. So today I'm hoping that I can help you out with that. Before we actually get started, please make sure that you subscribe to the channel and give this video a like, thumbs up, whatever, and leave a comment in the section below about what you thought about it or some type of question that you may have about this or anything else pertaining to goat tying. Also, make sure that you sign up for Team Full Potential so that you do have that accountability partner. I will be right there beside you every step of the way so that you don't go down this path alone as a goat tyer trying to figure out what you're doing as an athlete and just a goat tyer in general. So make sure that you get signed up for Team Full Potential on my Facebook page or on my website. So, how many of you actually struggle to actually accomplish your goals? I used to be one of those people. I did. So today we're going to talk about how to do that. I will give you how I did it and how it helped me just hold myself accountable. So this is what I'm going to teach you. How to write your goals, how to make sure that you hold yourself accountable to them, how to define your goals, and how to kind of plan to work towards your goals. So hopefully we get all of that in today and we'll just jump right into it. So of course we're going to start out with the very basics of just setting goals. Whenever you do this, first off we have to decide what our actual goals are. Whenever I think of goals within a week, within a day, within a month, within a year, whatever it may be. Usually my goals were pertain to anything like a specific rodeo that I wanted to win, or a specific saddle that I wanted to win, or something that I wanted to work towards as an athlete. So working out more, or trying to build muscle mass, whatever it may be. Also worked on like specific things in the practice pen. Hey, I want to get better at this within a certain week or within a certain month. Just whatever was obtainable. Something that was actually an accurate measure. So like if I told a new goat tyer I wanted her to start tying eights within the first week of her tying goats, more than likely she's not going to be able to do that. So that's kind of a unrealistic goal. So we try to keep them realistic. Be real with yourself. Can I actually achieve this within a certain amount of time? But also don't cut yourself short on that. So yes, define what your goal, or just ask yourself, what do I actually want to do this year, or what do I want to do this week? It can just literally be a week or even a day that you want to write down whatever goals that you want to accomplish. The next thing is defining them. What I mean by defining them is, how are you going to get to them? How are you going to make yourself better to achieve that goal? Because obviously we don't achieve goals overnight for the most part. None of us became where we are today as goat tyers without a lot of practice, without a lot of work and effort put into it. It didn't happen overnight. There has to be a plan put into place before we actually get into those goals. Like I said, we can't go down a deep, dark road that's, lonesome. Try to have a plan. Define your goals and how you plan to achieve those goals. I can tell you, honestly, that if I was working towards tying, let's say, whenever I was in high school, tying a 6, I had, daily goals that I wanted to meet in the practice pen to help me get towards that goal of tying a 6. So it was all those little bitty small goals that led me to the big goal. The next thing is also just putting down beside your goals, is this a short-term goal or is it a long-term goal? Short-term is obviously within days, weeks, or a month. Long-term goals may be 3 months down the road, or a year away, or 10 years away, whatever it may be. So define what those goals are, because those will help you put them into perspective in a minute, okay? So next part is put your goals in an area that you are always at. I always kept mine beside my bedroom mirror, because literally my bedroom mirror was right in front of me whenever I woke up in the mornings. It was like right past the foot of my bed almost, like a couple steps after that. But I literally woke up every morning, raised out of bed, and I could see those goals right there every single morning. So I kept them there because it held me accountable. Hey, what am I achieving today? What am I working towards still? And then also, whenever I got home from a rodeo or whatever, or if I came downstairs from working out, whatever, I could cross that little goal off where I was. I didn't have to go find them. So to keep them in a spot that you're always at, so that you're always looking at them, and that you can always remind yourself, hey, what are my goals again? Because we need to know where those goals are, and if we actually want to achieve something, we've got to have a plan put into place. It starts with a goal, something that we want to work towards. So the next part is, how do we put them into work? Okay, this is where we usually get lost, okay? But I'm going to try to help you through this, okay? Stick with me with this. Okay, so we've already looked at our goals, okay? We want to achieve this within a week, month, day, whatever it may be, a year, okay? Short term, long term. Whenever we're trying to work towards our goals, try to decide which goals are most appropriate for right now, okay? I'm going to try to choose my words carefully during this. It's very hard for me sometimes. But choose a goal that's most appropriate. So I'm obviously not going to be working towards the end goal of a goal that I'm setting for a year from now. I'm going to have a lot of small goals from today until a year from now, okay? So put your goals into perspective. Put them in a way that's most appropriate for you to work towards. So an example is, one thing for me was, a goal for me was to learn how to read goats, okay? Goats can run left, they can run right, they can run up the rope, they cannot run at all, they can literally stand in the middle of a stake. They can do anything that they want to. So that's a big goal, is learning how to read goats, okay? Well, in order to work towards that, I had to set probably weekly goals of learning how to read a goat that's running left, reading a goat that's running left, and then, it cuts back right. Okay, that was 2 weeks worth of just trying to learn how to read goats. A goat that cuts right. That's week number 3, okay? But I segmented these goals, okay, into short-term goals. This can also be part of the definition of your goals. How do you define your goals? How are we going to get to that goal? Okay, we have to put a plan into place. Next thing is, this one can be difficult for some of us, not really for me because I'm such an OCD person sometimes. I know I don't look like it, but I am. Set a time in your day to actually work towards those goals. You don't have to achieve them right now, but work towards them. At least work towards them at least once a day. Okay, so those goals that we want to work towards right here and now, obviously we're not working towards 10 goals at once, okay? The goals that mean something to us right now within this part of our life, we work towards those daily. Set apart time in your day to work towards those goals. So for me, a great example, obviously I love working out, so obviously one of my goals is to build muscle mass, to get leaner, toner, whatever it may be. I set time for myself every single morning as soon as I get up to work out, okay? I know my personal weaknesses, and one of my weaknesses is getting up, and if I don't work out right then, I'm not going to work out the rest of the day because I'll find something else to do. So as soon as I get out of bed, before I can even say anything to myself about not doing it, I'm already doing it. I go work out. Set time apart for yourself to work towards your goal. Okay? Whenever, okay, a kid that goes to school 8 to 3. Okay? You get home, let's just say at 3:30. Set time for yourself to be able to be outside by 4 o'clock. That gives you enough time to get dressed, to change your clothes, get a snack, whatever it may be, to go tie goats. At 4 o'clock, you're going to be tying goats from 4 to 4:30, 5, whatever it may be. You're going to be tying goats during that time. Set time apart during your day to work towards your goals. Know what goal you're going to work towards during that time frame. Okay? Schedules are very important. Structured people who are working towards goals have schedules. They know what they're doing every single day. Okay? They know what they're working towards whenever they wake up the next morning. Okay? So yes, I'm very adamant about that. Have a structured lifestyle if you're going to work towards goals. That's not even within my notes, but I'm going to tell you, have a structured lifestyle, have a schedule, know what you're working towards during that day. The next one is, within that time schedule, decide how you will work towards your goal. It's kind of like double planning for a goal, okay? So obviously we've already just whenever we set our goal, we said this is how we're going to get to it. Well, that was then, okay? We're taking that goal, but now we're going to actually put it into place. So it's just like we're going to go back to me learning how to read goats, and I want to learn how to read them left, right. Okay, so I'm going to look at myself and think, okay, today I'm working towards a goat that's running left. How am I going to learn how to achieve that? Well, yes, working on goats that run left, obviously. But we're going to go a step further and be like, how do I correctly approach that? Well, I correctly approach that by running low, by watching my goat's eyes, by watching his face, how he moves. You know, if his face moves left, then guess what? I'm going left with him. And I'm also keeping my hands out wide to kind of hold him back towards the end of the rope, hopefully, but I'm also ready to snatch that rope if I need to. Okay, so I'm defining, I'm planning towards these goals. This is what I'm going to work on today. I'm going to work on staying low. I'm going to work on reading the goat's eyes. I'm going to work on following the goat instead of the goat running and then me reacting. I'm going to try to be quick on my feet as this goat's moving. Plan for your goals, okay? Another example of this is whenever I got back from a college rodeo and I noticed that I was doing something that probably wasn't good for me. I knew it. My goal that week, the following week after that goat run or goat runs, I would work on that one thing, okay? But okay, I didn't just stop at, hey, I'm going to work on this week. I defined it. How am I going to work on that? What am I looking for in myself to work towards this goal? What am I going to do differently in order to achieve this goal? We have to think in terms of outcomes. What are we working towards? What am I wanting from this goal? What am I wanting from with this run? Think outcomes, okay? Next thing is hold yourself accountable each day. So one way that I held myself accountable was, obviously I don't have practice runs in here. I have a bunch of homework if you want to look at my homework. But each day, whenever I finished a practice run or practice tying goats, roping calves, ride my barrel horse, whatever it may be, I would literally write down what I did each day and what I worked on. So, for example, for goat tying, I would put tied goats. I might put TG for tied goats. And I would put what I worked on. I worked on a goat running left, or I worked on my funnel, staying low in it, or I worked on, anything. I worked on a smoother tie because I'm not coming back around with my tie, whatever it may be. I would literally write it down. For breakaway roping, that was not my strong event. Mom and I just cared whether or not I caught it most of the time. So I would usually put breakaway, caught so many calves out of so many calves. If I caught 5 out of 5, I was doing good. So, yes, and then just like for my barrel horses, if I was working on something with them, cool, I would write it down. But for goat tying especially, I really like to write down what I was working on. Because guess what? Those days that you didn't feel like you were making any accomplishments, so like we're in April, okay? We're going to say that we're in April. and on this day we're feeling pretty sorry for ourselves and we feel like we haven't done anything, go back to February and look at what all you've come from. Okay? That's what I really liked about writing what I accomplished down. Also, I know that my camera's backwards, but on Saturdays, if I had a rodeo, I'd write down what rodeo it was, and I would put what my time was, and usually what happened during that run. But I just held myself accountable, and I could also go back and look, well, how many days did I practice, or what haven't I worked on in a while, you know? And also it keeps your parents off of your butt, because they'll be like, hey, you haven't practiced, and they'll be like, hey, yes I have. Yes, I have. So come at me again. No, I'm just kidding. Don't do that. Please don't do that. That's not good. But seriously though, it holds you accountable, and you eventually, like, I would get so addicted to writing something down. Like, it would make me so mad whenever it was snowing outside and I couldn't tie goats. Well, by golly, I had to write something down on that day. So I would at least tie my foot just so I could write something down, and put fastest time, whatever it may be. Tying my foot, or I worked on this while tying my foot. You know, it's just whatever, but hold yourself accountable and have the proof, physically have the proof of what you've done and work towards. You could also, handy dandy little calendars, put your goals up here so that you have them right there, and you're like, okay, what am I working towards again? And put it in your weeks, whatever it may be. But I really liked having calendars to put down what I worked on, how it went, and what the outcome was of that. Do I need to work on it again tomorrow? I may need to, so I can remind myself, hey, this is what I've been working on, and this is what I want to work on next. So yes, hold yourself accountable. Next thing is evaluate your goals. Calendars are a good thing to have, to write down what you have worked on each day and what you plan to work on next. It holds you accountable. So evaluate your goals. How do I actually know what I'm doing? How do I know that I'm achieving? A lot of times people are like, people think they've achieved something just because they want something. Well, no, that's not how it works all the time. There was a lot of times that I may not have won a rodeo, but by golly, I've achieved a lot in the goat tire that I am, okay? I may have gotten a lot better at being able to funnel goats that kick out really wide, or goats that just strain everywhere. You know, like, that's a big goal to make for me. So it's not always about winning. Remember that. Your winning will come eventually, okay? Anyways, so evaluate your goals. I'm gonna get back on track. Are these goals making you better in some way? Okay, so a lot of time, or well, sometimes we make our goals too easy for ourselves. Okay, so like, good example for me is, okay, one goal for me would be, if I made the goal of keeping a goat straight back and I just want to work on tying, where am I getting with that goal? Okay, like, what am I doing with a goat straight back whenever my skill level is way above just keeping goat straight back? Okay, so in what ways am I gaining anything for myself if I'm keeping a goal super simple? Sometimes our goals, even though we feel like we haven't achieved them, we've achieved a lot more, so we may need to bump that goal up a little bit more, okay? If we have accomplished, which, please do not always hold a goat straight back, okay? Goats do run. If your goal is to just make good runs, good solid runs on a goat that's standing straight back, and it's become easy for you, have your goat run. Make it just a little bit harder for yourself, okay? Evaluate, are my goals making me better in any way? Or am I just thinking that I haven't achieved it and I actually have achieved it? Think about these things. Are your goals actually making you better in some way? A lot of times I notice that a lot of times I would notice that I had accomplished a goal even though I didn't feel like I had. So I would have to bump that goal up to meet another standard, because we always need to be climbing that ladder to get better for ourselves, okay? That also leads into, do I need to bump my goal up a bit, okay? if I feel, okay, for example, here's a great example. Whenever I'm working out, I started out at like 5 pounds, okay? And then I bumped it up to 8 pounds, okay? Whenever that started feeling easy, even though I thought I was doing like really hard stuff, I was like, man, I should probably bump this up. I bumped it up to 10 pounds and then 15, whatever it may be. I bumped it up the weights, okay? So I didn't hold myself back, okay? Evaluate yourself constantly to see where you are in these goals. And remember that, you know, we are here in the here and now, and we've got goals for, 3 months down the road. We're not going to achieve those goals in we're not going to achieve them today that we have set for 3 months down the road. We can work towards them, but we're not going to get to them by tomorrow if we have them set. Try to make sure that you are working towards those goals that are for the here and now, and then for the ones that are for tomorrow as well, because, we got to keep building up the ladder. Also, sometimes we get a little bit too big for our britches, so sometimes we make goals that are a little bit too hard for ourselves, especially for the time being. So an example of this would just be like simply me trying to ask a girl that does not work out to bump up to 15 pounds and start pushing that weight. That would be too big of a goal for her, and it would burn her out. It would be just like if I took a really young kid that did not know much about goat tying and just said, have fun, and just gave them a wild goat to go chase down. They would have that burnout feeling to where they would want to quit, and they didn't feel like they could actually achieve those goals. So sometimes you have to evaluate yourself and make sure that your goals aren't too hard for yourself. Bump it down a little bit, but also make sure that they're not too easy, okay? We have to have that happy medium to where we're just steadily staying aggressive and working towards those goals. Another thing is, this is the fun part, celebrate. Celebrate your accomplishments. Dude, I celebrated so hard whenever, me celebrating is like me just like staying home and eating something really bad for myself. I celebrated a lot whenever I finally learned how to funnel a goat, because it literally took me forever to learn how to do this, okay? So I freaking celebrated. I celebrated with the girl that taught me how to tie goats, and she also gave me gold stars for it. So, yeah. Celebrate those accomplishments. If you win a big rodeo, celebrate. Celebrate for a day, and then get right back to keeping your head down and just staying hungry for that next goal. Be happy for yourself, okay? It is a process, and it's a fun process. Make sure it's a fun process. It's not a job, it's a hobby, okay? But we still want to be good at it, okay? I understand. Don't let the competitive side get too much, okay? Still keep it fun, keep it fresh, have fun, but also just don't let yourself get too lenient on yourself to where you're okay with tying, 8s and 9s the rest of your life. If that's what you want to do, by all means keep doing it, but if you're not actually happy with that, you're going to have to change things up, start practicing more, go to the practice pin with goals in mind, just the general stuff. And then the last thing is just celebrate for a minute and just keep your head down after that minute, and keep your head down and just keep working towards that next goal, okay? Because guess what? The competitor that got second behind you, they're already trying to outwork you, okay? So, celebrate for that minute and get right back to work, because everyone else is working. They're trying to work to outperform you at the next rodeo, okay? So, to put this all into a big perspective, because I know I just threw a bunch of information out at you. An example for y'all, this was a personal example that I did for, probably several years. So I would set goals at the beginning of the year. I would evaluate how the previous year had went and what I want to accomplish for the next year, and I would work towards those goals. I also set goals. Every time I went to the practice pen, I worked on something, okay? It may be something really small, maybe something that most people would think was stupid, but I worked towards something. I went to the practice pen with a purpose in mind, okay? Keep that in mind, because those little bitty things that you go to the practice pen to work on, they'll mean something whenever it comes to competition. It's going to keep you It's going to keep you on your toes. It's going to keep you just staying in that top performing athlete realm of yourself, okay? But I would literally set goals, and I would keep those goals in mind as I was going to the practice pen. And I would go to the practice pen with a goal in mind every single day, and I was hungry to work towards it. I was thinking about it in class, like, how can I work towards this goal? I woke up at 4 o'clock every morning to go to the gym just so I could work towards my goat tying goals, because I was that hungry for it. And then I went to class, and I got through all of that, and then I went straight to the practice pen, and I was like, okay, what are we working on today? And I would think about what I was working on, and I worked towards it. I defined how I was going to work towards it. I'm going to sit low in my flank. I'm going to make sure that I'm sitting low. I'm going to make sure that I'm keeping my core tight and that I'm staying over my goat and not moving whenever I'm tying. It's simple stuff. It can be simple stuff. It's the small stuff. Don't go into a practice. Now I'm going to get on my soapbox. Let me get on it real quick. Don't go to the practice pen just telling yourself, I'm going to work on my flank. Well, no. There's like 10 jillion parts that you can work on your flank. Work on those parts, okay? Work on the small stuff before you can get to the big things, okay? Because the small stuff is going to lead to that great flank. It's going to lead to that great tie. It's going to lead to that great dismount. It's the small things that count whenever you're tying goats or roping, whatever it may be. So I'd go to the practice pen, get through that. I would usually call a parent or two and just tell them how things went, what I worked on, get their input on it, get videos if I could, and then I would go back and write it in my handy dandy little calendar as to what I worked on, what I practiced that day, just so I could hold myself accountable and I could go back later on and look at it, okay? But that's literally how I kept myself in check. That's how I held myself accountable every single day as to how I achieved my goals. But here's the other part. You've got to be hungry for it, okay? No one's going to hand you anything in life as an athlete, okay? Your parents can buy you a really nice goat tying horse, but that's not going to make you a great goat tyer. They can send you to the best private lessons in the world, but guess what? It all comes from within here. You've got to be hungry for those goals. You've got to be hungry to be the best goat tyer, the breakaway roper, the barrel racer, whatever it may be. You've got to be hungry for it, okay? It's got to be on your mind all the time. You've got to schedule out time to work towards those goals, okay? Your parents aren't going to do it for you. Eventually they're going to stop, because guess what? I had a nagging ear all through high school, and then I got to college, and guess what? There was no nagging ear. But I took it, and I was like, okay, it's not here. I've got to hold myself accountable, and I wanted to. I wanted to hold myself accountable and be the best goat tyer, because a lot of people thought that, you know, I wasn't going to be anything because my mom wasn't always there nagging me on. No, like, I went and I took it and I excelled. Try to be that goal-driven person that goes into your practice pen with a goal in mind every single time. Go in there with a purpose. Go in there ready to work. Leave everything that life throws at you. Leave it at the gate at the arena and go into the arena and get ready to work towards your hobby. Let that be your time to do something that you enjoy, if that's what you enjoy. But yeah, now I'm off my soapbox. But anyways, this is just achieving goals, working towards them. It's small steps that lead into the big achievements of winning a saddle, winning that one book that you had not won yet. It's all of that. It's learning how to funnel a goat correctly. You know, it's all of that literally you think about all the times that you spend the practice pen just working towards it, all these little small things. And then you finally get to that one practice or one rodeo and you're like, oh, it come together. Like, it finally came together and worked for me. Okay? It just happened. Okay? But it also came from all of that work. It came from all of the times that you spent writing in your calendar. That's not my calendar. Writing in your calendar what you had worked towards during that time. Okay? And it gives you time to celebrate whenever you do reach those final accomplishments. But yes, if y'all have any questions about this, please reach out to me. Also, make sure that you subscribe to this channel like I already said. Give this video a thumbs up if you liked it, and leave a comment in the section below if you have any questions about anything. If you like this video, I would love to hear your feedback about it, just whatever it may be. Also, make sure that you sign up for Team Full Potential so that you do have the accountability partner to show you the tricks and the ropes along the way. And you'll also get the individualized help, because I like to be individualized with people. I teach better individualized instead of group. Go towards their own individual selves. So yes, sign up for Team Full Potential. Get started with that, and you know, we'll just see where it takes you. But anyways, that is everything that I have. So yes, make sure you subscribe to the channel, give this video a thumbs up, and I will see you on the next video.